So, hello everybody. Thank you for joining. How many have we got here? 22, which is nice. And quite a mixed bag as well from people all over the place by the looks of it, and a few new faces that I've not seen before. Thought we'd do some introductions if that's okay, but let's try and do them quite quickly because otherwise we'll spend the whole meeting introducing ourselves. So I'm going to start. I'll call your name out. If you then unmute yourself, just introduce yourself. So we'll start with Nikki, please.
Hi there. Yes, I'm Nikki Thornton-Breyer. I work for Surrey County Council. I usually support Surrey Heath with their local committee. So I work for the County Council, but work very much in partnership with the District Council as well, the Borough Council.
And the community, I would say, Nikki.
And the community, yes.
Yes, lovely.
Yes. We've unfortunately just cancelled our local committee in Surrey Heath, but we are looking at how we can engage more with residents using some of the facilities that are now becoming quite commonplace. So nice to meet you all.
Yes, absolutely. And thanks for joining us, Nikki. Really appreciate it. Right, so who's next? Maureen Hume. Unmute yourself. Say hello, please, Maureen.
Hello. So I'm Maureen Hume, and I run the Camberley Alzheimer Cafe with a team of volunteers. We're nearly at the end of our 6th year now. 7 if you call it a year of courses before that.
Gosh, it seems like yesterday that I first met you, Maureen. It's incredible. 7 years, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, we're about to start our viral cafe on Monday evening.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so we're going to have fun there. It'll be light-hearted, but we'll still have lecturers coming.
I take it that's an online one, a virtual one.
Yes, oh
right.
yes.
Wonderful. Lovely. Well, thanks, Maureen. Thanks a lot. Steve Forster, say hello, mate.
Good day to you. I'm Steve Forster. I'm from over the border in Hampshire. I'm a county councillor and a district councillor in Fleet.
Yeah, lovely. And Steve is kind of, you know, I'm known locally for the stuff I do online. Steve's known locally in his area for what he does online. So
and we do work together, don't we?
We do. We do. A very active councillor. So it's nice to see you, Steve. Thanks a lot. Peter, if you'll just unmute yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Peter.
Hello, where are you?
Ashvale.
You're in Ash, that's right, yeah. Oh, lovely. So slightly over the border too. Slightly over the border too, kind of.
All part of Surrey, though.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, nice to see you, Peter. Bernie Muir.
I'm a county councillor for Epsom West, borough councillor for Stamford Ward, which is Epsom and Your Borough Council. I'm very pleased to be Vice Chair of the Adults and Health Select Committee, and the reason I mention that is because we're running a mental health task group. So if anybody's got any contributions, sorry about my dogs, if anybody's got any contributions they'd like to make, or know of anybody who'd like to make contributions to this mental health task group patient journey, I would love to hear from you.
I'm pretty certain I know a man in this meeting right now who's going to want to speak to you. So when he introduces himself, I'm sure he will make himself known. So thanks, Bernie. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us as well. Great to see you. Karen Curthew-Sanders, please.
Hi, I'm in Mitchett. I'm the District Commissioner for Girl Guiding Frimley Green and a volunteer for Surrey Heath Prepared.
That's right, you are, aren't you? I've got something to talk about that once we've done the introductions, but welcome. Thanks for joining us, Karen.
Thank you.
Irene Bothamley. Oh, God, I thought you'd fallen over then, Irene.
I was miles away then. I'm Irene Bothamley, Chair of Macmillan Cancer Support in Camberley, and also got another little job that I've done. Since I last saw you all, I've done the training to be a Macmillan telephone buddy, which is a new service that that Macmillan have offered now to people going through cancer journeys. And I have my first service user on Tuesday, and it went very well.
You're perfect for that role, Irene. Absolutely.
Thank you, Paul.
Perfect. So yeah,
Thank you. And before I go, 2006 I raised on that. Oh, that's £2,006 for the £2.6 challenge, the Macmillan challenge.
Oh yes.
On my drive, yeah. So that was the final figure.
Yeah.
So I'm pleased that I've been able to make a contribution while self-isolating.
Well, Irene and her committee of volunteers have raised well in excess. I don't know what the actual figure is. Well in excess of over £1 million for Macmillan locally from the Camberley Committee. And correct me if I'm wrong, Irene, that money does go locally as well, doesn't it?
It does go locally.
Yeah.
It goes within Surrey, and very often if I have a big event, you know, where sometimes we can raise £10,000 at an event, and that money would go to Frimley Park. If there was a post under funding there, Macmillan Post, we'd flag it up to go there.
And for those of you who it's your first time to one of these meetings, you may have, if you've been to one of these before, you may have heard this story before. But my claim to fame is that I've stabbed Irene Bothamley. Now that might sound awful. That might sound awful, but I'll tell you this story. So I used to be a first responder for South East Coast Ambulance Service, and I going back quite a long time now. Irene, must be what, 2005, 2006, I think.
I think it was 6,
yeah.
possibly.
And I get a page to say female in anaphylactic shock, Heatherside. So I get in my car, race towards the Heatherside estate, knock on Irene's door, and one of her neighbours was there, let me in. And she was in anaphylactic shock, and I stabbed her with my EpiPen. So, yeah.
And you saved my life, I hasten to add.
That's how I met Irene Bothamley, and we've been very good friends ever since. So thanks for joining us today, Irene. Another Heatherside resident, Larry Bain. Hello, mate. I should say the Reverend Larry Bain.
Thank you, Paul. I'm not sure what I should say. I try to be involved in the community wherever I can, and occasionally we welcome residents from Deach as they shop and do things in Heatherside, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely.
I suppose the unusual thing is I have no church building. We meet in the community centre and here and there.
Yeah. And Larry and I are good mates. We often enjoy either a curry together or breakfast at the Deep Cut Cafe. We don't not in any particular order.
Not on the same day either.
No, absolutely, absolutely. No, nice to see you, Larry. Thanks, Maureen. Hello.
Hi, I'm Maureen Pavey and I'm from Frimley Green.
Right, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Stephanie Austin, can you unmute yourself?
Hello, my name's Stephanie Austin. I live in Mitchett. I'm a volunteer for Surrey Heath Prepared, and that's it.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. And like I say, I've got an update on Surrey Heath Prepared, which I'll update everyone a little later. Rob Scott, hello, mate.
Hello. Yeah, Rob, I'm your local Mitchett chiropractor, so wedged between the Baptist Church and the new co-op, and I live and work there. And I should just add that I'm back at work now, and I've got a clinic starting in about 12 minutes, so I may not be able to stay.
Right, lovely. So if you've got a bad back or any aches and pains, Rob's your man.
Yeah, I think nearly everybody that's been working from home has been sitting in a crap chair, and they probably need to come. That seems to be the flavour of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, welcome. And Rob, I hope everything goes well with your business. I know it's a tough time for everybody out there at the moment. But I'm sure everything will go back to some form of normality soon, and hopefully it won't impact your business too much.
Well, so far so good. So fingers crossed.
Good, well done. That's the spirit. Thanks, mate. Cheers. Hello, Howard. How are you? Hang on a minute. Howard sounds like a robot out of Star Wars at the moment. I'm going to mute you. We can't hear you, I'm afraid, Howard. It's completely inaudible. You might want to adjust your microphone settings, and I'll come back to you. Okay, mate. Stephanie, hello. Stephanie Shepherd.
The other Stephanie.
The other Stephanie. Yeah. Whereabouts are you, Stephanie?
I'm in Camberley, near the Frimley Hall Hotel.
Oh, yeah. All right. Okay. It's the first time I think we've had anyone over from that end of town.
Yeah, probably. I get your newsletter regularly. And
Oh, dear. Oh, lovely.
I've been wanting to join this meeting, but not been able to.
All right. Well, you're always welcome. Thanks, Stephanie. Tony Hall. Hello, mate. Tony, unmute yourself, buddy. All right, I'll do it. Oh, no. Have you cracked it? There you go.
Hi, Paul. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Tony Hall. I am a rep for Independent Mental Health Network, and I feed into the Surrey steering group for those with vulnerable children and safeguarding issues, working in Kent, Surrey and Sussex as part of the joining up of the two ICPs.
Right. Well, Tony, you and Bernie ought to get together. I think you two should have a virtual meeting separately, because I'm sure there's a lot of common ground that you guys can cover, and I'm pretty certain that Bernie can help you with your aims and objectives, Tony. So make sure you two do connect, all right? Brilliant. Lovely.
Okay.
Thank you. Susan, hello, Susan Stewart. There you go. Lovely. Very nice. Susan's introducing herself pictorially. Well done. Thanks very much, Susan. Mary, hello, Mary Lucas. Let me unmute you, Mary. There you go. Oh, no, you need to unmute yourself. It's not letting me do it. There you go.
Oh, right. Good afternoon, Paul. Thank you for inviting us all. It's a privilege to be here.
Yes.
I live in Bisley. I spent many happy years teaching at the Grove Middle School.
Okay.
Frimley Park Hospital.
Yeah.
And I'm also an honorary life member of the Surrey Poultry Society. We concentrate really on preserving rare breeds.
Right.
Marvellous thing to do.
Yes. Don't you have an exhibit at the Bisley Ag and Hort show?
Yes, but we also do the Cranley Agricultural and the Surrey County.
Right.
Yeah, we do a lot of exhibition work. And
I've seen you guys there. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Well, it's lovely to see you. I spend quite a lot of time in Bisley. I'm the official media guy for the National Rifle Association, so I spend many hours every week at the National Shooting Centre at Bisley.
My sister-in-law was secretary there for many years.
Oh, what's your sister-in-law called?
Sylvia Lucas.
Sylvia Lucas, doesn't it? I mean, I've only been there for about 6 years, so it might be before my time.
I think yes, probably.
Yeah. Well, anyway, lovely to see you, Mary, and thanks for joining us. Okay, Faye, hello. Faye Story. Unmute yourself, Faye. There you go. Oh, try again. There you go. Hello.
Hello, Paul. I'm Faye Story from Camberley on the Odine.
Lovely. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Mary Culverhouse. Hello. Oh, you're muted, Mary.
All right, now.
Hiya.
I'm from Mitch. Joined you once before.
Yes, I thought I recognised you. And where are you? Did you say Mitchett?
Mitchett, yes.
Mitchett, that's right. Well, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. Lovely. Hello, Maggie.
Hi everybody. Thank you for running these coffee mornings. They're really nice, even if they are in the afternoon. I'm from Frimley Green. I'm an online music teacher. Online now, that's for sure.
Yes.
I've actually been very grateful for the help from Surrey Heath Prepared, so thank you for all of that. And I'm interested in contacting with Maureen Hume, who's doing the Alzheimer's things on Mondays. So perhaps Maureen, if we can get in touch, that would be really good. Thank you.
Okay, Maggie, if for any reason you don't manage to connect through this meeting, You've got my contact details, and I have Maureen, so you can drop me an email and I'll pass on her contact details if that's all right with you, Maureen.
That'd be great.
Yeah, great. Okay.
Thank you very much.
I'll make sure that happens. Lovely. Thanks, Maggie. Nice to see you again.
Hello, sorry,
Ashley.
can I butt in? I've got to go. So it's lovely to see everyone.
Whereabouts are you, Ashley?
I'm Mitchett.
Mitchett. Well, it's nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining.
That's all right. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Kay Atwood, hello.
Hiya, Paul. How you doing?
All right. All right. Now, Kay, I'll introduce Kay, if that's all right. Kay is the coordinator for Surrey Heath Prepared for Mitchett area. She's also known locally as the dog whisperer because she is an award-winning dog trainer, aren't you, Kay?
I am. Yep. Dog trainer.
How's it going?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. It's been quite morning on Surrey Heath Prepared this morning, so I'm managing to get on and get a few bits done of my own.
Lovely, lovely. Well, we're going to talk about Surrey Heath Prepared in a minute once we're finished with the introduction. So thanks for joining us, Kay. It's always nice to see you. Stuart Black, hello, mate. Unmute yourself, buddy. There you go. Oh, we can't hear you. You're not connected. Anyway, I'll introduce you. So Stuart Black is one of the two other people that started Surrey Heath Prepared with me. We started it in our respective back bedrooms over Zoom and created the website, or the first version of the website, I should say. It's now on the 4th or 5th version if we handed that over to professional web developers because it was getting a bit unruly and beyond my technical capabilities. But Stuart is one of the founders, along with me and Atia Fard, of Surrey Heath Prepared. Great to see you, Stuart. Stuart's a local businessman. He lives in Frimley Green. He runs actually, I'll let him explain it. We still haven't got your audio, Stuart, but he runs a company called Brain Train UK. He's going to come back in, I think, and he'll explain what that is. But great to see him. Pat Butlett, hello, Pat.
Hello, everybody. Hi. So I'm in Deepcut, but I'm on the path. I'm near the garage.
Right. Yes. I don't think we've met before.
No, not face to face or anything. I've got to get your newsletter and things.
Oh dear, right. Right, good enough. You're one of the few people in Deepcut I don't know, I think.
I'm currently working. I've been working full time since it started. So if I have to drop off, I apologise. I'm online as we speak at the minute. But
no problem at all. And can you tell me where that accent's from?
Sorry, say that again.
Where's your accent?
Manchester.
Whereabouts?
Fallowfield.
Right. Well, I was born in Salford.
Right.
And grew up in Whitefield.
All right. Well, I was Fallowfield and lived in God help us in Moston and for many years.
Yeah, my stepdad used to work there. Yeah.
So,
right, lovely.
I'm part of Surrey Heath Prepared as well. That's why I'm joining today.
Oh, lovely. Thanks for joining us. I will update everybody on that very shortly. So, Sarah Adams, hello. Hi, Sarah. Unmute yourself.
Right, can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, lovely. Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm part of Surrey Heath Prepared and I've lived in Deepcut for about 6 years.
Right, and whenever I see your name on social media, Sarah, I have to confess, because one of my friends, his wife's called Sarah Adams as well, and whenever I see it, I have to be really careful that I'm not saying something that I shouldn't be saying to you.
Okay.
So, lovely. Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Maureen, hello. Oh no, we've already had an intro from Maureen. You've come back in again. And Stuart, have you sorted your audio out yet?
Maybe.
That's it. Lovely.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, so I've introduced you, but just tell everybody about your very unique company.
All right. Okay. I think So we have a business. We've been going about 5 years now. Which I describe as it's the applied neuroscience of the electroencephalogram, the EEG or the brainwaves. We specialise in trauma, but we got a therapeutic intervention that can help people been through trauma very, very effective. And you don't need to talk about it. It's what makes it special. And you may have seen our logo because we sponsored, I think, 9 of the 14 NHS thank you banners that went up across the Surrey Heath wards.
Yeah.
I think I managed to spot 4 of them, but in the bottom left-hand corner is a very discreet logo of ours.
Yeah, and I really do think that you and Bernie ought to connect with each other, because I'm pretty certain that some of the therapies that you offer may be of benefit to Surrey residents. And now that Bernie's chairing the appropriate committee, you might want to connect with her. So again, if you don't do that now through the chat, I've got Bernie's contact details. Just drop me a message, Stuart, and I'll connect you both. Great. So that's the intros over and done with. So first of all, thank you again, everybody, for joining us today. There's a few new faces, which is really lovely. The reason why I wanted to call today's virtual coffee morning, and I think the reason why we've got some new faces in here, because I did say in my messages on social media that we wanted to really just thank all the Surrey Heath Prepared volunteers, because if you haven't heard, we are going to be drawing down Surrey Heath Prepared, and it will be closing actually on the 1st of July. Now, hello Susie, welcome. The reason why we're doing that is because since we started it, and I think, Stuart, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was about the 15th or 16th of March is when we started it. Like I said earlier, we started it off in the 3 of us in our back bedrooms over Zoom in one afternoon, and it just took off in a big way. I mean, I think in the first day or two we'd had over 500 volunteers come forward, and to date I think we've dealt with over 4,000 requests for help in the community, and they range from doing people shopping that are in isolation to befriending calls, so people who just want to hear a friendly voice on the end of the line. We've sorted out food parcels from the headquarters run by Mike Thomson and his team at High Cross Church. What else? Oh, and pharmacy, prescription picking up and delivery. On the Heather side alone, 1 or 2 volunteers there have satisfied over 1,000 prescription deliveries. That's just on the Heather side estate alone.
I just had a prescription delivered now by a very pleasant gentleman.
Have you? That's fantastic.
Yeah. I was really impressed, because I was going to send someone, ask someone to go pick it up for me, but he was there, smiling face.
Yeah, and
good service.
Yeah, and it's been a huge baptism of fire for the people like myself, Stuart, Attia, and the steering group, getting it all going. We really did have to think on our feet in terms of the mammoth logistical challenge, but coordinators like Kay Atwood, I can't see her. Where's she gone? She dropped out. Where's Kay Atwood? Oh no, there she is. There you are. No, I see you. So coordinators like Kay in every single ward of Surrey Heath, organising and coordinating when a request comes in for help. Then it's people like Kay across the borough who will then assign a volunteer to satisfy that request, whether it be a prescription, picking up shopping or whatever. And the reason why I called today's meeting really is just to thank all the volunteers. And I know there are 1 or 2 of you in the room, so just put your hand up if you're a volunteer for Surrey Heath Prepared. There we go. On behalf of everybody, on behalf of the whole community, thank you for everything that you've done. We are going to close on the 1st of July. And the reason why we're closing is that, again, I think the community now are becoming far more accustomed to this way of life. All the necessary, I suppose, mechanisms from the council and the charity and faith sector are now in place and know what they're doing to manage the surge in help that's needed. The idea behind setting up Surrey Heath Prepared was that, like the government didn't want the NHS overwhelmed, we didn't want to see the community services teams in the various councils getting overwhelmed either. And it's just so fantastic that so many people came forward. We weren't expecting. I think it's over 3,000 now volunteers come forward throughout the life of the project. Like I said, in the first day or two, we had over 500. We weren't expecting that.
Ask a question?
Yeah, who's speaking?
Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie.
So are we expecting people in isolation to be out of isolation by July then?
No, but those people who need the help and have the, may have maybe shielded in isolation, whatever that may be. And we've got 1 or 2 people like that in here today. They're already on the radar of the relevant authorities. So you've got Surrey Heath Borough Council and partner agencies, whether they're the charity, faith sector or Surrey County Council, have those people on their list, and they should be getting looked after. And if they're not, and if there's anyone here today that is in that category that's not getting looked after, that needs help, you've only got to contact me and I'll make sure you get that help. You can phone the council, and they'll get you the help that you need if you need it. But I have to say that it's my understanding, perhaps Nikki can help me here, it's my understanding that anyone who needs help should be already getting it.
It's certainly, yes, if you're known to be on the shielded list, then you should be, you should have had a contact phone call from an officer. And anyone that wasn't able to be reached by phone call should have had a visit from a PCO or other uniformed.
So they're not dealt with by Surrey Heath Prepared, they're dealt separately by the council, is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, and Surrey Heath Prepared was really there for those people because, if you think about it, the council are aware of people who are, you could say, registered vulnerable. So they were already on the radar of the council for whatever reason. It might be that they come under the services of adult social care or something like that. So the council were already aware of those people, but the unique, I suppose, situation that this crisis has put people under is that people who ordinarily wouldn't consider themselves vulnerable, and I hope Irene doesn't mind me saying this, but Irene Bothamley, I think, is probably a good example of where, ordinarily she wouldn't consider herself vulnerable, but because of the unique situation and because of maybe some health needs or whatever, all of a sudden is vulnerable. There are other people, fit and healthy people who may have lost their jobs and suffering from mental health situations as a result of that and just not looking after themselves. There's so many different situations that people all of a sudden find themselves vulnerable. And really, Surrey Heath Prepared was there to cater for those kinds of people, I think. But like I say, we are drawing down now. We're looking at a 1st of July closure. Just before you come in, Tony and Stephanie. So 1st of July closure. But what we're going to do is, because it's now been set up in such a way that should there be something like a major second wave or another civil contingency issue going forward, we can literally just unpackage it off the shelf and start it again if we need to. But I think that the council are now in a position where they should be able to cope with assistance from the charity and faith sector. So Stephanie first and then Tony.
Okay, thanks, Paul. What about the people who get hit by track and trace? People who aren't vulnerable at the moment, but who suddenly find themselves getting a phone call saying, hello, you were next door to someone who's got COVID-19. Would you please isolate for 2 weeks? Now, I mean, that's fine, but that means that, you're stuck for shopping and that sort of thing.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I mean, there is still help available for those people through the charity and faith sector. And what we're going to do on the Surrey Heath Prepared website and on the helpline that already exists. So we have a helpline for those people who are not on the internet or not comfortable with the internet, which is 01276 66798. And if you're one of those people, even after Surrey Heath Prepared closes, that is not necessarily registered vulnerable, so may not be on the radar of the council, can ring that number, and then there'll be an alternative phone number that you can call to, like a recorded message saying you can call this number and get the help that you need. But also under the track and trace system, Bernie might be able to help me out here, but under the track and trace system, trackers that may have identified you and called you will be able to point you in the direction of where you might need help under those circumstances. Nobody, absolutely nobody in our community, certainly in Surrey Heath, I can't speak for anywhere else, Steve might be able to help me out in Hampshire, but there's not a single person in our community that if they need help won't be able to get it. You know, Surrey County Council is geared up for this now. Yeah, go on, Bernie.
I mean, the Surrey County Council helpline is still in place, and you'll be signposted correctly there.
Yeah,
and as you rightly said, the track and trace system comes with a pathway, but if you don't feel you've got the information you need, the Surrey County Council helpline is still in place.
And certainly if you live in Mitchett, Deach or Frimley Green, if you have any issues that you need help with, you've only got to call me and I will point you in the right direction. And even if you don't live in that area, you can call me anyway and I'll signpost you to someone who can help you. Yeah, Bernie, did you want to say something?
Yeah, with regard to the wind down of Surrey Heath Prepared, I was just wondering if you were proposing to do a review exercise of your experience from start-up to where you are now, because you know, I think that would be quite a useful thing if you had a brainstorming session, because I think what you've done there is quite remarkable, and it would be great if you did a review, including what worked, what didn't work initially, because I think this is something that could be rolled out and be offered as a pilot, if you like, for others. But I think it would be quite helpful for them to benefit from brainstorming of how that whole process, and get that into some sort of process.
Well, actually, we've got a meeting. There's a meeting tonight of the steering group to talk about just that. So yeah, we are producing a document mapping out what we did from start to finish, basically. And I should say, and I want to make a very strong point here, that although Stuart, Atia and myself came up with the concept for this thing, and you know, there was a fair bit of work, certainly in the first week or so of setting up Surrey Heath Prepared. It's actually been a mammoth community effort. We were just a very small part in the creation of it, but in fact the coordinators across the borough helped in shaping and the ongoing concept of it and the logistics of it through their ideas and their experiences. It's been a cross-party thing as well. Politics hasn't come into it. You know, I've been working very closely with members of other political parties, and also the faith sector as well has been non-denominational, although Mike Thomson, who's the Reverend at High Cross Church, has been heavily involved because it was his church that was where we decided to put the headquarters. He's been working very closely, as has Larry, who's in the meeting today, with other faith sectors. The Muslim Association of Camberley has provided a lot of food towards the food bank, has been delivering food to vulnerable residents, and so have the Camberley Sikhs Association have been heavily involved. The Gurkha and Nepalese Society, you name it, everybody has played a part. Every community group and faith sector, political organisation have just worked together, and it's been quite inspiring, actually, I have to say, that to see people working so closely together and just getting on with it. It's been really nice. Nicola, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just saying that actually there have been community groups that have been popping up all over Surrey and other counties, that have offered similar services. But Surrey Heath has been particularly well organised.
Yeah.
It's great to see. So we're very, very keen to kind of learn lessons from that and feed those to other community groups. In case, and I hope it never does, but in case that we do need to do this again, we're also looking to try and kind of build on some of this community resilience and this kind of feeling of being a, you know, a neighbourhood and all being in it together. So we're looking at ways that we can actually sort of, you know, make the best out of this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know there's a piece of work going on at County Council right now on that sort of stuff. Steve Forster over in Hampshire has been involved in a very similar initiative. I received right at the beginning, because word, excuse me, word had got out in neighbouring boroughs and districts what we were doing here. And I got a load of phone calls from various leaders of different councils and so on, saying, what have we done here? And could they copy it over there? And a lot of them have done that. I know Spelthorne has done something. I think Rushmore's done something. Hart. Is that right?
I would say, I mean, Hart's done some great stuff, but I think you guys have set a textbook study on how to do it really well. We've done it well, but differently, and it hasn't been as well coordinated between some of the COVID aid groups that we've had and the council and Heart Voluntary Action who've been running it. So I was going to say, if you're doing that meeting and producing a report about it, I'd really appreciate that, because I think the best from that will help us, and then we'll be doing a full investigation on ours through overview and scrutiny, and we're happy to provide that to you. I think sharing that and improving lessons learned, etc., going forward will be really useful.
And
getting
by the way,
feedback from groups like this, you know, the people who take the time to come on a coffee chat like that.
Yeah, and by the way, Steve, if you do overview and scrutiny and it comes to committee on that over in Hart or Hampshire, I'll happily come along and you can talk. Your members can talk to me about that, no problem at all.
Super, thank you.
But yeah, no, absolutely. We are going to be putting a document together on how it all works, and also the infrastructure behind Surrey Heath Prepared, the digital infrastructure that we've put in place, will remain on the shelf as well, should we ever need to unpackage it and roll it out again. I saw someone's hand up there and I didn't see who it was. Tony, hello there. Go ahead.
Steve, I've just come from a previous meeting with Surrey and Borders, who are sort of very keen to get that cooperation. So most of the model is based on the Surrey Heath Prepared, which has linked up the 11 boroughs, all part of the CCG amalgamation going forward with Heartland. I'd love to talk to you about some of the work that's already been piloted and the work we're doing with community groups such as Maureen's, the Alzheimer's, dementia, learning disability. There's so much good work done in Surrey Heath, but we don't shout our own praise on the works and the initiatives we started, but we just put barriers in our way. And let's break those barriers down, joint up working and more effective communication. So happy to talk to anybody.
We really appreciate that. I'm actually a governor at Surrey and Borders NHS Trust.
So I was at the governor's meeting where I was an observer, and some of the points raised about lack of communication, I'd like to have that continuation of that discussion that was with all governors from right across Friendly Health. So again, a lot of lessons learned there, and it's a welcome news that somebody is starting to do that report this evening, because we've got ideas, but we've got to make sure they're joined up.
I will email you Steve's email address, Tony,
Okay.
and then you guys can connect with each other.
Could you do Bernie's as well for me?
Absolutely, no problem at all. No problem at all. Now, what time have we got? We've got just a little over 10 minutes to go. Did anybody want to use this as an opportunity just to say what they're up to, or any community initiatives that they want to push out to everybody? I know Tony will, but he'll be the first in there. There you go. And Kate, go on, Tony.
So again, I just want to remind all on the call, it is Carers Week this week. And basically there is so much good work going on in every borough through the sort of carer's voice. but not many people are aware of the carer's voice in each boroughs. So it's part of the work I'm linked into young children and the transformation and those with vulnerable adults that have got criminal records. So again, happy to share that, but really publicise what we're doing in Surrey Heath, because I haven't seen much from Surrey Heath. So again, all the other boroughs have got a lot, but where's that being collated?
I have to say that I think carers are probably some of the most underrepresented people in the community. And I'm always learning. As a councillor, I find out about, as I'm sure the other councillors here will testify, that you discover new things all the time that are going on in the community that you had no idea about. And a couple of years ago, I was invited to an event in the summer in Woking. It was at a school that was there, and it was for Surrey young carers. And I was invited there by the previous mayor, Beverly Harding, to an event that she was having there. And that was put on for all these young carers. And my mind was blown to learn that there are some young carers in our community looking after parents or other siblings that are as young as 7 years old, right? I just couldn't get my head around that. You know, my daughter's 13. I can't imagine that she would ever have to look after us at such a young age. And some of them have had their childhoods robbed from them because, not through any fault of their parents. It's just that they may be poorly or whatever it may be. But children as young as 7 years old looking after adults almost on a full-time basis. So thanks for highlighting that, Tony. Like I say, carers are a very underrepresented segment of our community. So Bernie first and then Maureen.
On the subject of carers, and one of the issues why they're one of the contributory factors to why they're underrepresented is because a lot of people don't think of themselves as carers. Yeah. They just do it. They don't think of themselves as carers, so they don't necessarily reach out for help that is available. And I do hope that we can find those people, or those people can somehow realise that what they're contributing and that they do deserve support. Support isn't always brilliant, and we've got, there's a lot more we can do, but there is support available, and they need to know that they are carers.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I'll go to Kay first and then Maureen, because I know she had her hand up before and I forgot. So go on, Kay.
And just to mention, although we're actually closing on the 1st of July and things have got a lot quieter, we are still in need of our volunteers to be active with us, so that if we put a request out, obviously there are people that still need us. So we might be closing down on the 1st, but we're still active wherever we're required at the moment. So don't forget us, not yet.
Very good point. And if you belong, so if you're in Mitchett or Deach and you are already in Kay's WhatsApp group, her sort of volunteer coordinator WhatsApp group, I'm sure that'll still be going even after we close. So don't leave that group, stay in that group. So the other thing as well is one very important point is that when this is all over and we can go back to some form of normality, we are going to have one heck of a party. Nothing's been organised yet, but it's going to be a huge community event that we're going to put on. And the volunteers will be the stars of that event. So do stay in contact with us through those WhatsApp groups.
Can I be an honorary Surrey Heather for the day?
Absolutely. You can be my +1, Bernie. You can be
there you go.
So Maureen.
Can't hear you.
Yeah, that's it.
I want to tell you a story. And it's a story. It's the power behind when one person speaks at the right place in the right time. I'd always known since 7 years ago when I started the work with the Alzheimer's Cafe, I'd always known men have difficulty in cooking when their wives had died or were incapacitated. Now, 4 years ago, my daughter was in Waitrose buying vegetables. A man came up to her and asked her how to cook a squash, because he said his wife had just died and he didn't know how to cook vegetables. So Nuala, my daughter, came to me and told me this story, and I thought, that's it. we can do something. So I went to David Reed at St Mary's. He knew of Robin van Greffeld, who had done work there before, and that is how Man with the Pan took off. And we've now had over 90 people through that. We've had his work has raised the confidence of some of those who've been homeless, so they're able to go into safe accommodation. Others have gone into work, although it's with the volunteers, but these are elderly men, but they have gone in jobs and a role in society. So it's just somebody speaking to the right place at the right time.
Absolutely, Maureen. And I know, as you know, I know all about your Man in the Pan project. Something you talked to me about in Camberley. I think it was at the farmers market. I was doing some work down there, and we bumped into each other. And you told me all about it. And I know members of the community who have benefited from the services of that initiative. And I have to say, if it wasn't for the fact that my dad has a good woman behind him looking after him, he wouldn't even be able to burn toast. He wouldn't even know how to turn the toaster on, let me tell you. Wouldn't even know. So, you know, there are a lot of men in the community who have, I suppose, been spoiled. As they say, the saying is, behind every good man, there's a good woman. That's certainly true in our house. But there are some men out there that genuinely don't know how to look after themselves, certainly from a cooking point of view. And that's where your initiative has dropped in. And one of my very close friends, mother has actually got, I don't think it's Alzheimer's, but some other form of degenerative brain disorder. And her husband is having to look after himself. And he came to your causes and is now flying with his cooking. He absolutely loves it. So on behalf of that family, thank you for everything that you guys have done. It's been brilliant. Now, did somebody else have their hand up? No? Oh, Tony, go ahead, Tony.
I'd like to thank Maureen because I am one of those guilty parties that don't know how to cook. So basically, I was turned down by the council for my daughter or myself to do that. But through the networks in Rushmore and colleagues, my daughter was the first young person onto Man in the Pan. They treated her all well and good, and they behaved themselves, they were polite, but she wants to help those in the Old Dean, where she's been party to for a long time. Some of the guys that we talk to and come to us don't know how to cook a hamburger or an egg. They don't know the benefit, they just go down, so their obesity and all the things. So Maureen, thanks for helping my family, helping me, because they're fighting out who does the cooking, even though I'm getting the teaching. So well done, and keep up the good work, and you'll have my support and the family behind you. Well done to Surrey Heath, and for you and the work we've been doing for many years.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done to everybody. And on that note, I think I'll draw our meet, because we're literally a minute or two from the hour. Once again, thank you to all Surrey Heath Prepared volunteers for everything that you've done. I think our community, one of the, I suppose, ironies of this crisis, in isolation, it seems that we've all been brought closer together, which is fantastic. And I'm hoping as well that there may be a renewed sense of community. One of the things, I'm sure a lot of you here, very community spirited people and involved in the voluntary sector in one way or another. One of the, I suppose, challenges has always been getting volunteers. So what we're hoping will arise from Surrey Heath Prepared is, because if you're a volunteer at Surrey Heath Prepared, you will have got an email either today or yesterday saying that we're closing down, but also that we've given you a link to Voluntary Support North Surrey, where you can register as a volunteer, even if you can only give half an hour or an hour a month to help. There's loads of volunteering opportunities. It's something I've always done all my life. I joined the Army Cadets very early at 13, and it's something they instilled in me as part of my Duke of Edinburgh award scheme about volunteering, and it's something that I've always done all my life, and always got a lot of satisfaction out of it. And so if any of you after Surrey Heath Prepared ends, please register with Voluntary Support North Surrey. There's so much you can do, and there are so many volunteering opportunities. Some really exciting ones as well. I mentioned earlier that I was an ambulance service first responder for South East Coast Ambulance Service. I did that for a number of years. I attended dozens of heart attacks. I attended 9 cardiac arrests. I was the first on scene for 5 of them. Unfortunately, I only got 1 back, but I even delivered a baby, and that was all through volunteering. So if you want a bit of excitement, there are those actual opportunities available to you. There's Surrey Search and Rescue that do incredible work in the community. There's just so many volunteering opportunities. So please, if you've got that email, register with Voluntary Support North Surrey, even if it's only for half an hour or an hour a month. I think you'll get a huge amount of satisfaction from it, and the community will be much better for it too. Bernie, did you want to say something? Sorry, you're muted, Bernie.
I know when I talk to people about volunteering, quite often they're a bit scared of the responsibilities that maybe some of the things they were doing. But I was able to point out and direct people in some cases that whatever their talent is, if they're creative, they like art or gardening or the arts or whatever, there are vital volunteering roles doing things they love or would love to be close to or associated to, which don't maybe carry some of the responsibilities that people may be afraid of. And most organizations that do almost anything are looking for volunteers. So whatever you love, it's carpentry or whatever, you can find something where you'll get a great deal out of it and be helping somebody else at the same time.
Absolutely. So on that note, oh, don't forget, even if you just want to rattle a tin outside Marks and Spencer's, I know,
oh yes, please.
I know Irene Bothamley will bite your hand off for that. So that's another volunteering opportunity that actually does a huge amount of good. I mean, how much do you raise when you do those tin rattling exercises?
Well, at M&S, I think we raised with the staff. They were, they had a few initiatives as well. I think we raised about £17,000 last year.
Well, there you
go. Lots of money, but I mean, obviously this year, we won't be doing it at that level. We don't know at the moment how we're going to go forward on collections.
No, but the point is that even if you can only give half an hour to do that for Irene on one of her rotas, the huge difference that makes to people's lives across the community is immeasurable. So
and people enjoy it.
They do enjoy it, yeah.
A local resident, well, from Windlesham, he said he was hanging up his sash and his, giving in his can. And I didn't realise he was 90, and he'd been doing it for us for about 5 or 6 years. Didn't realise he was 90, but there you are, 90-year-old can do it.
There you go. So on that note, I'm going to end the coffee morning now. Volunteering, let's say, is the word of the day. If you can volunteer, if you can give just half an hour a month, even register with Voluntary Support North Surrey. If you can't find that, drop me an email. I'll give you the link. Everybody do that, and if every member of the community did that, imagine how better off we would all be. It'd be fantastic. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining me today.
Thank you.
I will do some more, but I'm not going to do them every week from now on. I might do another one maybe in a couple of weeks' time, and if anybody's feeling particularly lonely and missing my voice, just let me know, and I'll do a one-to-one with you.
Thank you, Paul, for taking it.
Thank you.